Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you've tuned into the number one undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown.
Who have some of those trainers been?
Well, my mentor was the late great Mr. Leslie knows the guy with the soul. You know, he was a tremendous fighter in the 40s, but he had, like yourself, he called it the tattoo, and back then that's the death sentence to the career. But he had beat Bob Montgomery in 2 rounds in a non-title bout here in Philadelphia when he was the reigning lightweight champion of the world.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxy and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxy.
What's up, what's up, what's up, and welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown. I am your host, Mark Roxy, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, what's up, what's up, Harold?
What's up, man? How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good, and how are you today?
Hey, I'm ready to talk, man. Got a lot of good stuff that happened this past weekend. We got some hashing out to do, rather.
Yeah, you got that right. I mean, there's so much to talk about, folks. So today we are going to cover the Richard Hichins versus Jose Zepeda fight that just happened this past weekend. And then we're going to get into the Jessica McCatskill versus Sandy Ryan fight. We'll also talk about the Canelo and Charlo fight. And Harold, I do want to close out the broadcast by just shouting out the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend is coming up. And I'm super excited about that weekend. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the program. But let's get started, Harold. Talk to me, man. Talk to me about this Richard Hichins fight versus Jose Zepeda.
Well, that was a great fight. Hutchinson is to be the next in line with Shakur and all the other fighters at that weight class at 135 and be a really powerful player. Initially, he was signed by Floyd, and Floyd gave him some work, but he since moved on. It wasn't a negative parting. It was just they decided to go their separate ways and still be friendly in the business area.
Yeah.
During the fight, one of the trainers was on the phone, constantly doing the phone while he was in the corner, between rounds. And it was rumored to be that was Floyd on the phone talking to the trainer, giving instructions via phone to Hutchinson, who exhibited so much of Floyd's style and movement and what have you. So it begs to differ. It could be Floyd, but it was nice to think about it was Floyd. But as far as his performance is concerned, he was very smart and very wise. He went through a lot of things, and we'll discuss those later, but I was impressed with him.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of folks out there that are tuning into the broadcast, you may not really know too much about Richard Hichins because he's not a mainstream fighter at this moment. But certainly after the performance against Zepeda this past weekend, you could expect to see a lot more of him. And I think he may be entering into a lot of conversations with, you'll be hearing his name in conversations for sure, man. Like, this guy was born in 1997. Richard Hichins was born in 1997. He's out of Brooklyn, New York. His divisions are light heavyweight. Light welterweight and welterweight. And he's just about 5'10", and I don't know how many fights he's got at this point. I think it's somewhere around 17. Let me see how many fights this guy's got. Go ahead.
His forte is, as you just said, Mark, he's really sharp and he really knows how to move around the ring well. And he keeps that jab going. and he's got good foot movement. He doesn't get hit. He
Yeah.
really did really well. Now his opponent was a world-class opponent of some note. I believe he's fought for the title twice and lost both times. And
Yeah.
he was durable and smart and intelligent and someone that you really have to be aware of when you're fighting him. Now, I got to give Richardson Hichins his credit because at the end of the fight, the commentator said, well, you could have took him out. He said, look, I know he's a powerful puncher. I know that he's experienced. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I could possibly, get compromised because of my being overly aggressive, because I had the fight going my way. And that maturity was great because a lot of fighters will say, look, I'm just dogging this guy. I'm dragging him. I'm just going to go in and just stay in the pocket with him, take him out. But he understood that his opponent is a world-class fighter, and anytime he could get buzzed. So he was cautious, and he got through the fight, and he won the fight. He even said himself it wasn't an exciting fight to a point, but he had to be cautious and smart and wise and get through that. And then next time, he could kind of step out a little more. But this time it was wise what he did.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, Jose Zepeda is no joke, man. Jose Zepeda is 37-3. All right, Jose Zepeda's been in with some great fighters. I mean, if you go down the list of the people that Zepeda has fought, you've got, well, first of all, he's a southpaw, so that's number one. That's like the fact that Hichins did what he did. He made Zepeda not look like the world-class fighter that he actually is. I mean, Zepeda's been in there with Regis Prograis. He's been in there with Joshua Vargas, Ivan Baranchik. He's been in with Hank Lundy, the veteran Hank Lundy. I'm looking at the list of all the fighters that he's been in. Jose Pedraza.
Prograis being excellent.
Jose Ramirez. He's been in with everybody. And so when you really look at Jose Zepeda's resume and you stack it up against what was done the other night, what you realize is that, Richard Hichins really did a great performance, and his instincts were right, because you don't want to get in there and mix it up with a banger like Jose Zepeda, because he will take you out. And Zepeda was cut. He had blood streaming in his eye the whole fight. It wasn't an easy way to fight, in the way that Jose Zepeda chose to fight Hichins. So that made it pretty much, tailor-made for Hichins to do what he does best, which is pick you off on the way in. And, I think it was really a great performance by Richard Hichins. And certainly I stood up and, I took second notice. I'm like, hey, this guy looks much, much better than the last. He was in a fight against John Bowser. I don't know if you saw that fight.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the fight with John Bowser, I mean, he looks exceptional in that. But I still had questions about, what happens when he fights a higher level opponent. And sure enough, they did exactly that. They put in a higher level opponent. And he did great.
Someone who could actually take him out, that could hit him and cause him problems. He could get hit to the point where he had to cover up and had to get away. He couldn't be that aggressive person that he usually is and be able to stand in the pocket and avoid. If he would have got hit, we would have saw his how he reacted. But he was wise enough not to be hit enough to cause him any problems. So he did really well. So I think he'll be more aggressive his next fight, being he got by this veteran as you described.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? How do you see? Like, let's talk about Hichins. What do you see next for him? And where do you think he's going to go, Harold?
Well, the only thing I don't see right now is I don't see any power. He has to keep people off of him. You have to have the power to keep you off. Now, Floyd never had heavy power, but he hit you enough, you stayed off of him. Because the first time he hit you, you say, okay. Hit you again, you say, well, this could hurt later. Yeah. So you stay off of him. Shakur Stevenson can keep you off. A lot of people can keep you off. But he hasn't shown me that he can keep you off as
Right.
of yet. Where you're coming in and you're on your game, you got a good chin, and all of a sudden you're stunted. Not saying you're a stanky leg and you're stopping or whatever, but it stops you from being aggressive. I haven't seen that kind of power from him yet. His placement is great. It can shock you to slow you down, to stop you, because it comes from
Right.
nowhere and it's clean, but doesn't shake you. And that's what I haven't seen from him as of yet.
Yeah, no. I agree with that. I mean, I think we got something special here. I mean, he's only got 17 fights. Not I shouldn't say he only has 17 fights. He has 17 good quality bouts under his belt. They're moving him very smartly, and they're putting him in positions where he gets to really excel in his performances. And the Saturday night, man, he did a great job. I think it's upward and onward for Richard Hitchison, and I think there's lots more fighting for Jose Zepeda as well. I don't think it's the end of Jose Zepeda. I think he just had a really bad night.
Hey,
And
did you see a little drama going on in this corner right there?
tell
The trainers and the other people were saying, "Hey, just go ahead and go to him, take him." He was like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay wise and smart." So they were fussing back and forth. The water wasn't there. This wasn't there. That wasn't there, because they were so enamored with talking with each other, saying, "Go get him." And he was like, "No, I'm not going to go get him." And they were forgetting the water and the mouthpiece and all that, because they wanted to be sure he understood what they wanted him to do. But he was his own man. He went ahead and he was in there fighting. He knew that, the peril he was in, and he stuck to it and did not follow his trainer's advice at that time. I know in the future he will, but the trainer's not in there feeling that punch, knowing that it could rock me, even though you don't think so. Obviously, the young gentleman felt that way, and he stuck to his guns, and he's victorious, and he has a lot of credence and respect for his wherewithal in that situation, besides what his trainer was trying to tell him.
Well, listen, Harold. I mean, he's done his research. This is a guy who's made it as far as he's made it on his skills and the development of his skills, and whatever trainers or whatever people have been responsible for that is yet to be determined. We'll hear more about those trainers as he excels, as he grows and develops. They'll also be spotlighting the trainers, but a lot of times you never really hear about the trainer until he's at world class level and he's fighting for a world championship. And these are the kinds of growth fights for the team and for the corner that they have to have in order to learn how to work together. And it doesn't get easier as you get higher, as your skill sets get better, and you face tougher opposition, and you go up in style matchups. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Everybody can fight. And what's going to make the difference in a world championship fight, winning a world championship fight, unfortunately for Richard Hitchison, is the corner. So he's really going to need to figure that out. I don't know what happened. I did hear all the scuttlebutt in the corner, and I thought it was unusual. And I heard some of the commentators actually mentioning that on the broadcast. But at the end of the day, they will need to work that out, because it doesn't work for them to go up and to have that kind of turmoil in the corner, because it only gets tougher.
They were excited. They saw him taking out a huge veteran with a lot of cachet.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to get that, because they knew that it would translate into so many different things. And as far as they was concerned, he had him. Get him. But as we said earlier, that was not the case from that fighter's mind.
Yeah, man. So listen, Harold, let's jump on over to Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan. That was a great fight.
Yes, it was. A friend of mine judged that I work with constantly, all the time. He judged. I'm not going to name his name, but he was one of the judges. And I've been working with him for years, and we just did a fight maybe a couple months ago. But I thought that McCaskill really had to bear down and really fight because Miss Ryan was on her. I mean, she was well schooled. She was strong. She didn't get tired. She was really doing good work. You know, I
Yeah.
mean that fight was hard to call. I'm not going to weigh in on it at all, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought they both stood in the pocket constantly. They 2 minute rounds are exciting to judge. You know, it's a lot when you judge 2 minute rounds. You don't have opportunity to have that third minute to really solidify who is coming out. At the end of the round because you only got
Right.
2 minutes. And I like judging 2 minute rounds. They're not bad. But you really got to be on your A game. Although I am all the time, but it is more intensified with a 2 minute fight, a
Yeah.
2 minute round. But they put on a great show. They stood in the pocket together. They were amicable when it was over. And even though it was a draw, it wasn't much uproar or upset or anything like that. And we got a great fight. If they do a rematch, it's going to be a good fight. So
Yeah.
I think McCaskill will have to kind of bear down a little more next time to kind of be sure that she got the decision. Same with Miss Ryan.
Yeah. No. It was a controversial fight. Um, I do believe that, from what I observed, uh, McCaskill was on the B side, at least as far as the crowd was concerned. She was not the favored fighter in the crowd. So I definitely got that from the audience. They were booing her as the fight was over and she got a chance to speak live to the audience and to the world. And you could hear the boos in the background. I thought it was a very close fight. I definitely didn't see the 95-95. I thought it was, more like, 96-94 for Ryan. But I could see how they could swing. There were a couple of swing bouts that were, or swing rounds that could have gone either way. And I think what's interesting about this fight is that McCaskill, it was not her best performance. She definitely was in with a tougher fighter than she normally fights, and I don't think she prepared um, properly for the fight. And what I mean by that is I think that the sharpshooting, direct, straight line punches that were coming at her were landing and getting there faster than she was able to get her shots off. And they were wide, they were looping shots. Even her jab, she was completely, her head was in the air. It was kind of a sloppy performance, although her style is a little rough and tumble. Um, Understanding that, you kind of looked at the fight as a little bit unusually more sloppy than she would, normally present herself.
Yes.
And I just felt that her punches couldn't get to the faster, straighter, longer Ryan. Ryan had the advantage on the jab. She was able to land that jab long and straight from outside. And, McCaskill was having a hard time getting close enough to do her work. And so she was trying to pull those shots longer and wider so she wasn't in range to get hit. And I think that was the story of the fight. And I just think that Ryan, she believed on that night, she really believed that she was going to win that fight. And I don't think McCaskill really had that fire that she's known for that night. And I do think that she's going to really, that's going to resonate with her. And I think you'll see her come out better and stronger in her next fight because of that draw.
That draw. Okay, now she is a little older, okay? But when she got into kind of a desperate mode, Mark, her head was straight up, right on the line, chin in the air. I was like, girl, you've been fighting too long to be in a situation where you're swinging for the fences and your technique is lacking and you got your chin up in the air, your head straight on the line, and you're exchanging bombs with this person. So as you said, maybe she didn't take the training. I mean, maybe she didn't apply everything she needed to apply in training because she at times it was her skill set was not on point. It was
Right.
Chin up in the air, head on the line, in the pocket, just trying to land.
Yeah, I mean, I was really, I mean, if you're in the McCaskill camp, you're really happy that you get a draw. You know, you kind of wipe your forehead and go, "Woo, we got a draw." I mean, it could have been worse. We could have gotten a loss, but it was not a loss. It was a draw. So I like to say, consider yourself lucky that you got a draw. You got to draw against a great opponent, and you can probably. I mean, I really do think if they do that back, if they run that back, I can see McCaskill winning that fight if she comes with the necessary adjustments to fight Ryan, because Ryan is sitting in the pocket in places that she really shouldn't be. But you got to be a little faster and a little sharper to take advantage of that. And also, I think you can go much more to the body on Ryan, and that will not be a good look for Ryan. If you hit her cleanly to the body a little bit more, do a little bit more work down there, put a little work down in the bread basket, I think it's gonna pay dividends for sure. Yeah.
What does the other guy say? Water in the basement. Teddy Atlas. That's his thing.
Yeah,
put a little water in the basement.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. You fill up the basement with a lot of water, and you will be flooded. It will be not a pretty sight for sure. And yeah, man. I mean, but hey, listen. If you're tuning in right now and you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for being with us. And if you are going to listen to this broadcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Please don't forget to leave us a review. Give us a 5-star. We'd love those 5 stars. And don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notifications there in the YouTube app. We love that. And if you're tuning on Facebook, please leave your comments in there and join in on the chat right now. You can jump into the chat room right now with us.
Do it.
Get in here. Let's go. And thank you, Facebook, for hosting us. We appreciate that. Awesome. So, yeah, man, let's take a little right turn here at the cul-de-sac. It'll loop us back around to this conversation about Canelo Alvarez and Jamel Charlo, because that fight's happening. And
before we do that, I got to derail you. We got to talk about just quickly, we have to talk about Big Bang Zane and his fight, the heavyweight.
Okay, let's go. Give me
just quickly. As we know, Big Bang Zane fought this weekend. Who did he fight, Mark? He fought.
Tell me. Tell us. We're all waiting.
A big Englishman. You don't remember? Well, not that you don't remember, but before I mention his name, I want to go with what happened. As you know, he was able to win before, and just for posterity, it was Joe Joyce. He fought Joyce previously, and he won. He really messed up his eye. He had a second fight just this time, and he took him out. Now, just quickly as to say what it was, this gentleman knew that he could beat him, just physically beat him down, but he didn't realize that to the end of the first fight. So his mentality came out right away, and he took him out in round 3. But it was beautiful, Mark. Mark, you're a trainer, as of course you are. So you know that Joyce was looking for that right hand to come down the pike because it was dogging him out all night.
Yeah.
But guess what? Trying to get away from that right hand all night, he got caught with that left hook coming back across and took him out. Face first, over. And when big men fall like that, face first, the average weight between them two was over 500 pounds. It was almost 600 pounds between them boys. So all I'm saying is it was a perfect knockout punch. It was beautiful. So when you guys go back and look at that, I don't want to take away from the Charlo and Canelo situation, but please, you must see that knockout. You must see that man looking out for that right hand, looking out for it, look, trying to stay away from it. But as he moved to get away from it, he ran right into a perfect left hook and took him out. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that fight, but I'm sure.
Oh, so that's why you didn't throw it up there.
No, I didn't know what you were talking about. Who are you talking about? Because I didn't get a chance to see the fight, and I have to watch it. It's in my queue to watch. But I didn't get a chance to see that one. I'm sorry, listeners. I can't watch every fight all the time. It's just not possible. I know you think I can, but I can't, and so I didn't get a chance to see that one.
Well, for our viewers, I wanted them to know that one of us did see it, and you saw the first fight. And as I describe it, as a trainer, you know how the progression is. Once you know about how you can dominate your fighter the first time, the rematch is always a little different. And you've instructed fighters on how to handle a rematch with the information that was gathered from the first fight. So I was, I'm sure that you understand the progression. And you can help our viewers understand that progression from the first fight to the second. Yeah,
no doubt. We'll come back and we'll cover that after I've had a chance to fully watch the fight, and we'll figure it out. But in the meantime,
Canelo, yes.
Yeah, man. Listen, we've been waiting for this fight. I'm excited about the fight. I think it's proving to be a really, really interesting fight. It's coming up. The fight's coming up. So, are you ready for it?
Yes, I've looked to see Charlo, how he has been vulnerable, how when he gets hit. Now, he hasn't hit by anybody of that caliber before, but he has been hit, and I haven't seen him waver. I haven't seen him necessarily blink where, I've been hurt or anything like that. I've seen him take punches, and he's still focused on whatever, and he's looking to defend, but I haven't seen him like push back and
right.
off kilter and stutter stepping and any of that. So it appears he has a chin. Now, of course, he's in there sparring with some heavy guys. His brother, Spence, and
right.
a lot of other people who can really, really pop. So from what I can tell, he has a chin, which may give him some not advantage, but it would be something in this arsenal that he has that he can take that kind of punch, possibly for a few times, because Canelo is a knockout puncher. Once he buzzes you, you're gone. So we have to see how that works. But I've been watching all the stuff on the television, the 24/7s or whatever they call it on. I've been watching those and we got, leave it to Beaver Daddy. That's what all of a sudden Charlo is this Huxtable or from the Happy Days. He's just this perfect kind of guy with the kids and the mother and the father. All of that. He's really focused on this fight. And right. I'm really, surprised. He's out there fishing with his son, all this kind of stuff to kind of downplay all that brashness that he has. And if that's really his MO, that's going to do well with him when he fights Canelo.
Yeah, no doubt. This fight is interesting. There's a lot of predictions about how this fight's going to go, and they're varying. They're very, very much all over the map. I think this is a battle of undisputed champions. It's happening on September 30th. Saul Canelo Alvarez puts his four super middleweight championships on the line against undisputed junior middleweight champion Jermell Charlo. The fight is Alvarez's third defense on his undisputed status and Charlo's first trip up to the 168-pound division. So this is going to be a great fight. Do you want to make any predictions on this fight, Harold? Or
yes, I do quickly. I saw a couple interviews that Canelo did. He said his hand was hurt all those other times, but now his hand is 100%. Okay, that's motivation. Second motivation is the Charlo boys have been calling him out for years, saying that he's not all he says he is. So and he really doesn't know who's who. He doesn't know the difference between this one or that one. It doesn't matter to him because as far as he's concerned, they're all the same fighter. And he said that. So the hand is healthy. He feels like he's not disrespected, but he needs to let them know that he does have the skill set that he has, and he will do that. He was saying that, he just enjoys the boxing. He's made the money. He's done this. He's done that. But right now, he just wants to really enjoy himself. So, Mark, you know how it is. You were a fighter. When you're 100% healthy, it's great. Floyd was only healthy 100% one time. And that was against Gotti. He said that the only time I had no ailments, no pains, no nothing, I was 100% in my entire career was against him. And you saw what happened in that. He just thrashed that boy. So Charlo's claiming this is his time. Well, not his first time, but he's saying that he's 100% healthy.
Right.
His mind is right. Everything is good. And he wants to make a statement saying, I am the man. And he's motivated by years of trash talking from the Charlo brother.
Right. Well, like I said, this is there's a lot of scuttlebutt around this fight as well, Harold. There's a lot of people talking about a lot of things. I personally have my predictions about how I think the fight could go. One never knows. So, if you're out there and you're trying to place bets or what have you, just understand that, no one really ever knows how these things are going to go. There's so many factors that go into play on fight night that could swing the fight one way or the other. But I believe that it's really, really imperative for Charlo to be able to back up Canelo. He's going to have to back Canelo up. He's going to have to stay off the ropes, and he's going to have to command the center of the ring. And if Charlo is successful in backing Canelo up and playing the role of the real estate mogul, then he's going to have a great chance on coming out with a victory on September 30th. I think that he cannot let Saul Canelo Alvarez back him up and push him up against the ropes and do what Canelo loves to do the most, which is, bang on the body and land those big shots over top. He cannot let Canelo dictate the direction of the fight or for that matter, the geography of the fight, because this is about who owns the geography and who owns the direction. And that I see that if Canelo is successful in pushing Charlo back, then Canelo could get, a stoppage somewhere between 8 and 12. I think that if Charlo is successful in maintaining the direction and keeping Canelo on his back foot, I think Charlo can, get to a victory and possibly score a knockdown and maybe even a stoppage if Canelo shows up unprepared. That's my take. That's how as I analyze the fight, those are the kind of circumstances that I see can play. What are your thoughts about what I said?
It's perfect. I implore our listeners to go watch the Bivol fight. That's the only game plan that you need to see. You need to see exactly what Bivol did. If he can emulate that, he can win the fight. It's as simple as that. Bivol did exactly as you said. He commanded the inside. He stayed off those ropes. And when he was on the ropes, Canelo was going for his usual work to the body and whatever, but he beat that man's arms and shoulders and everything, throwing his best punches. But defensively, he was sound. And then he spun off the rope. So if you want to see how Canelo is to be beat at this time in his career, don't look at the Floyd stuff because he wasn't as polished as he is now. But now you look at that Bivol fight and you can see how Charlo can win. It's clear. It's clear. Yeah. So he has to emulate that. That's just it. I can't even wax on this or that or this or that from my standpoint because I'm not a trainer as you are. And your expertise is on point. From my side, he's got to copy Bivol.
Yeah. No, I hear that, Harold. I hear that. I definitely think, the one thing that we have to think about is, you can copy the Bivol style, but what adjustments stylistically and what lessons were learned from that fight for Canelo Alvarez and his team? What did they learn from that fight that has been corrected? Because the one thing you know about their team is he's got Eddie Reynoso in his corner, one of the best trainers in the world, hands down, one of the finest trainers, that's not sitting there acting like that never happened. I'm sure they've made the proper adjustments for that particular style. And, really, let's say you come with a complete style like Bivol, and you fight the way Bivol fought, and, you come up short because Canelo already figured that out. He already said, hey, this is what I did wrong in that fight, and this is what I needed to do if someone else fights me like that, uses that as a blueprint. I think it's that level, man. This is not chess. I mean, this is not checkers. It's chess, you know?
Well, I've seen Canelo resort to his own style. I
Yeah.
don't think necessarily he may be aware that he needs to do this, do that, but I believe that as you go into the fight, he's like any other fighter.
Yeah.
He's going to resort to what's been working for him. And I don't, not saying that he's not disciplined to stick to a game plan, but I think he always abandons the game plan once he gets you in a situation where he thinks he needs to be with you, and he goes to Canelo style. That's where he can, emulate the style, if you will, if that's vague, and prevail. Because I don't see Canelo really making any really adjustments. He's already got an attitude because he's been disrespected. He's already got an attitude because the world is saying, "Oh, you're not the best fighter, Bud is," or this and that, not. So he's up. He wants to trumpet that. Then he's got the hand situation, which is healed. So he really wants to really do something. I really think he's going to step in to himself. I don't know if he's really going to have a different game plan to get away from that. The only reason that Bivol was able to win really was because he avoided the body shots and he stays off the ropes. That's just being in shape, right? And Charlo is definitely in shape, but we don't know if he can take that kind of punch, that kind of power. So I don't see Canelo making a wholesale change to change from his style, because that's how he lost the Bivol fight. That's how he's been with the John Ryder mess. All those kind of where John Ryder looks like, he's, oh, look at him. He really did well because Canelo stayed into his style and he didn't really variate too much. It's been working for him for all these years. Why should he, naturally, change like that? So is he disciplined to do that?
So listen, I think we're going to find out more in the coming weeks. The fight is coming up on, not coming weeks, it's actually September 30th. It's coming up next weekend.
Yeah, next week. It's fight week next week.
It's a big deal. And
everybody's going to Vegas.
Everybody's going to Vegas. Yeah, you going to Vegas, Harold?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'll be in Vegas on that television or wherever I happen to be.
Yeah.
But yes.
This is a perfect segue to the last part of our program, just before we end up here. But I just wanted to let you know that on September 30th, I'm actually going to be in the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. And Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame is happening. The induction weekend is coming up this coming weekend, and there are festivities on Friday. The inductions are actually on Saturday. There's a meet and greet brunch on Sunday. There's professional fights put on by Hard Hitting Promotion, a partner of the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, and they're working together this weekend. And so there's a fight that's kind of tied into the whole weekend event, and that's happening. And listen, it's going to be amazing. I don't know, folks, if you guys are tuning in, if you've ever been to the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame, but it's a star-studded event. Everybody. You'd have to go to the Hall of Fame in Canastota to get anything like this. But everybody is there. Every former world champion, boxing managers, promoters, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, broadcasters, everybody is actually at this event. It is a star-studded event. It's taking place September 30th, October 1st, and September 30th, September 31st, and October 1st. And it's a whirlwind weekend. Come on out. I actually am directing the induction ceremonies, and I'm excited about the weekend. I'm excited to be there. and just the folks that are being inducted. Just go to Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame to learn more about the weekend's festivities, because that's a whole podcast in itself. I tried to get Ray McCline on this evening to be on the broadcast, but unfortunately he had back-to-back meetings, and he couldn't make it out for the podcast. But I just want to tell you, if you want to get tickets, go to ACBOF.com, Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame.com. So let's do the acronym. A, Atlantic City, C, Boxing, B, H, Hall of, O, F, Fame. That's right. Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. Get your tickets. Come on out and join us. It's going to be a spectacular weekend, Harold. I wish you could be with us, bro. And but
that remains to be seen. That still may happen.
Yeah, man. I would love for you to come on down. You already know, and we definitely can. We'll do a post podcast for sure. I'll have tons of footage, and I know my boy Lights Out is going to be there. I don't know if Tyson's going to be there, but I know that Lights Out will be there, and I'm excited to see him and all the other amazing world champions. And Shannon Briggs is getting inducted this year, Harold.
That's great. That's
great. Man, it's going to be great. Shout out.
He deserves it. He really did. He was ambassador for boxing even after he stopped fighting. The way he was running around behind Klitschko was great, because it just kept the eye on the heavyweight division. It kept eye on his personality. He even had a fight here in Atlanta that was, controversial.
Yeah.
He created such a stir. So he's just a really vibrant personality, and he deserves his, to be inducted.
Yeah. Well, listen, Harold, it's been great.
Yes.
Again, as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us, folks out there listening to the Boxing Breakdown. That is what you have been listening to.
Yes.
And we will see you guys on the next episode of the
We
Boxing
will.
Breakdown. Peace and love. Catch you on the next run.
We out.
We out. Thank you, Harold, man. I'll see you later, brother.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxy and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxy.